So now let's delve into the matter of today. The first one is the issue that, according to the International Monetary Fund, could create economic opportunities, resilience, and growth. Sounds like what we would really like to know. By improving policies related to financial services, the world can enhance investment, efficiency, and also safeguard the vulnerable against adverse shocks. And what are we talking about? This is financial inclusion. It's a term, obviously, that's commonly said, but what about commonly done? Well, let's see how financial inclusion can help to lead to resilience, which is what the world is asking for. I mean, in the IMF World Bank meetings that just concluded in Morocco, the talk there was about building resilience because we are in a time of shock now, and more shocks are expected globally to the economy in the nearest future. We don't know when, but it's certain that we'll have shocks. So how can financial inclusion help to be resilient, help economies to be resilient and stand against shocks, both the present one and the upcoming one? We'll have joining us to discuss this a member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria Subcommittee on Agent Banking Certification Program, Mr. Fashasi Sarafaddin. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So
this issue of financial inclusion,
yes.
Well, we're talking about it. We've been talking about it for years,
yes.
You know. Does it look like Nigeria has an intentional strategy to achieve its financial inclusion?
Yeah, very well, very well. I think financial inclusion has a sort of relationship with poverty eradication, because when you have access to financial services, then the probability of being out of poverty is high. Before now, I think a lot of people are hiding cash under their pillows, especially in the rural areas. And when you look at Nigeria as a country, it's a bit peculiar because largest population are actually unbanked. They are in the rural areas. So you need to structure and take financial access points close to them. So that is, we make them to do their savings digitally, and it will also allow them to have access to digital credits and to boost their own trading. Because I know that the major challenge people at the rural area, the major challenge they have is actually there is no feasibility to their transaction. So we always assume they are poor. We always assume that they are not productive. Whereas a typical trader in the rural area, you can benchmark his revenue to a director in the ministry.
Oh, wow.
Yes, you can benchmark it. But unfortunately, we don't have that facility.
You know a lot of things we do not know without
yes.
You can benchmark.
So, yes.
I mean, because a lot of them are petty traders, farmers, smallholder farmers who do not even have equipment, you know, to boost their production or even to boost their trade, you know. So, I mean, but when we look around, we see that there's been some penetration, fintechs, POS, you know, and things like that. So I don't know if we're doing.
Yes, we are pushing very well. As at we had a target of financial inclusion strategy in Nigeria.
Who had this target?
CBN rolled out this target. They call it financial inclusion strategy. It was rolled out in 2012. With a target of by year 2020, we want to hit 80% financial inclusion. But as of today, we are still juggling around 64% financial inclusion in Nigeria. So, but I think we are doing well. We are above. We are close to the target. And majorly now, you will observe that you can find all those channels of delivery. You mentioned POS agents, you mentioned digital fintechs, solutions here and there. They have actually been able to assist to drive financial inclusion. There is hardly no rural area where you can't find POS agent today.
Just that you might have to go a bit of distance or you may have to pay more.
More, yes, because of their own cost to serve too. So you have to, because Nigeria is a very complex country, terrain in terms of geography. And you will be shocked that there are a lot of local government without the formal financial institution. No single financial institution in a local government, a lot of local governments in Nigeria.
And that's because there's no motivation for them to go there.
Because you can't actually be productive. And security concern is also a challenge. But a lot of banks in Nigeria, they have been innovative about deployment of agents now to cover those gaps. So an agent location is also simply the same as a banking location, because most of activities in the banking area, especially the retail segment of banking system, has now been outsourced to agents. So at agent location, you can open account, you can cash out, you can do enumeration, you can do national identity. In fact, a lot of agents, there are a lot of dynamics in agent services today. You can also, they are being used for cash disbursements because there is a level at which digital transaction can end in Nigeria. Considering the fact that digital transaction leverage on internet penetration. And as of today, we are having about 55% internet penetration in Nigeria. That means more than about 50% of Nigerians are out of reach of internet penetration. So you can use agents to actually, shock that access. And that is why CIBN, I'm glad that CIBN is saying, we have over 1.7 million agents across the country today. It is now time to transform them from that quantity to quality so that they will know what they are doing. You upgrade their knowledge. So, and they will be able to do the right thing. Because it's not really about access alone. It's also about the quality of the access you have.
So it sounds like at first we used to use infrastructure as an excuse, but we found a way to go around the infrastructure. Well. But I wonder at what cost?
It is at a very cheap cost because you only need about to roll out a terminal, a POS terminal, which is today, it is around about $100, $70 that you can actually use that to set up an agent to service more than 500,000 population in a rural community. So I think it's cost effective. In fact, most of the banks are even trying to shut down their branches that are actually in the rural and deploy agents. It's more cost effective to run through agent locations.
And employing some hands, I see.
In fact, huge hands. Because what we see today is you only see an agent location and think that transaction ends at that point. It doesn't end at that point. There are reconciliation team at the back end that are looking at how much you pay out, how much did you actually eat your account. And if customers are also having challenges about complaints, how do we resolve their complaints? Because trust is very important. When people visit agent location and they have maybe technology glitch in terms of decline transactions, they should be comfortable that without having had to travel miles, kilometers to the nearest bank branch, leaving their rural terrain, they can actually resolve it at the agent location. So there is a need for that too. And that has created customer service jobs. So you have reconciliation jobs. And in fact, you even have auditors that are going around agent locations that are auditing them. So, and when you look at the financial inflows into Africa in year 2022, the highest actually landed in fintech. And Nigeria actually, suck more percentage out of that in Africa.
So the issue of complaints.
Yes.
I don't think I hear a lot of it, but maybe it's just me. I know then when in fact, I spoke to some individuals who were scared of going into the POS agency business because of the issue of reconciliation and complaints and, transaction declined on one end but goes through on one end. But that seems to have reduced.
Yes, it has actually improved. I think we should give kudos to the industry stakeholders, the CBN, the NAPES. We have grown.
But we haven't reached where Kenya is.
We are running different model in terms of implementation of financial inclusion. The first mistake we made when we started financial inclusion drive in Nigeria was to go and replicate what was obtainable in Kenya by M-PESA, case study, and copy and paste into Nigeria's system. But Nigeria is a different setting entirely. And luckily enough, Nigerian actually come up with his own model, which is what we call Kiko agent, the cash in, cash out agent. So agent banking in Nigeria, which is, delivering financial services through third party, actually thrive in Nigeria than the wallet system, which thrive in Kenya. Kenya today, they are more of wallet-to-wallet system. In Nigeria, we are more of physical channel because Nigerian people believe in see me read, see Bible. They don't want a situation where you transfer to them and they cannot trace and they cannot. And also, Kenya has highest level of internet penetration. They prepared for it. We never prepare for it. So, and the cash flow, the circular flow of income from Kenya in terms of spending is different. In Kenya, people need to send money to their family in the rural areas. In Nigeria, we move our family, our grandmother to the cities to come on. So we really don't need a wallet to wallet. It's a different terrain, it's a different system. I think we got it right now, and that is why they are supporting that Kiko network. And international organizations, they are also studying our model now. That, why is it that in Ghana, it is mobile money? Why is it in Tanzania? It's mobile, but in Nigeria, it's more of, Nigeria is highest consumer of POS terminals in the world. So you will see that we have been able to evolve our own different model. And that has also helped us to create over 1.7 million jobs. There is no sector that has created that jobs in the last 5 years. So we are proud about that, and we are happy that CIBN, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, now introduced a certification program for agency banking so that we can equip them and upgrade their knowledge, because there are a lot of dynamism in agent services now. It's no longer cash payments. In fact, enrollments, NIN enrollments, they involve, NIMC involved private partners some 2 years ago. Before now, the government structure, NIMC, were able to only register about 45 million Nigerians. When they involve the agents, when we onboarded agents for them, in fact, we have hit over 100 million NIN enrollment as of today. But it is at a cost. It is because we observed that there was no yardstick for them to really recruit which agent to enable, which agent not to enable. So when you review their submission, you observe a lot of infractions. In fact, last week, NIMC had to suspend that transaction in agent location for them to be able to review it. We are now saying that, luckily enough, CIBN has introduced this certification process to take them through the needful. Let us have professionals among all these 1.7 million. Then these professionals can handle NIN effectively because they will understand what it takes to really run that kind of enrollment activities. And also in agri sector, I am a trained extension agent. I discovered that even extension agents today, they are doing more of agency banking because there are farmers projects. You have to enroll them. You have to open an account for them. So there is a relationship for them. So we also need to actually upgrade their own knowledge too. We were reviewing the submission of some of extension agents, and we discovered that instead of mapping the farmland, they were actually submitting football feed when we reviewed it. So that means there is a need for industry to really be able to separate which one are qualified among these 1.7, which one can actually take this access to the last mile. Most of the banks have suspended account opening at agent locations because of infractions. But now, with CIBN certification, they will be sure that they are well trained.
CIBN certification,
yes.
That you're talking about.
Yes.
How much of exposure and training are you giving to these agents? Because it's one thing for you to say, you're certified. But it's another thing for them to really have the ability, the skill to handle troubleshoots and all of that.
Yeah, very well. You are very right. And I want to confirm to you, and that is why CIBN has taken this so long to introduce this program. So they have been able to garner all this. It's not an academic exercise. They have been able to actually recruit, the players, people that have experienced it, people that have set up locations. So it is a practical experience. There is something on that curriculum. They call it experiential learning. Experiential learning has to do with come and do it the way you are doing it in the jungle. Let us see it. Experiential learning also involves bringing security agents to come and actually display and, let us know the use cases of the fraud in agent location. So let us see how you have been able to uncover it, how you have been able to resolve it. So it's more of practical, certification than conventional.
How long?
Yeah, it is just a normal module of 3 months.
I learned it to cost about 30,000.
It's a normal price of 30,000, 33,000 to register and become a certified.
And then to qualify, it's a school cert. Yes.
Yeah, it's a school cert because we realize that most of people that are actually practicing that are in this industry of agency banking, that is the level. They are informal people. So you have to drive it with informal strategy. We can't be demanding for highest degree for them to be able to, because anybody can actually handle it if well and properly trained.
Okay, so you did talk about issue around agriculture,
yes.
And all of that. And back here in Nigeria, we're talking about how to have a coordinated development. You talked about NIMC.
Yes.
Are you working with these other,
yes.
arms
yes.
to ensure that, you're doing yours and
yes.
they're also doing theirs?
Yes.
It brings distortion to the system.
You are very right. That is what the industry stakeholders have been working on, to bring everything together. You don't go to agent location and only cash out. You have to be able to do everything at that agent location. And that is what we have in India. In India today, you don't need to go to an agency to go and do your national identity number. Everything is done at agent location. And that is what is being implemented in Nigeria today. And on the other sectors too, I discovered that almost all sectors, because database is a challenge. Imagine federal government is trying to push out some funds to the poor people. And there are critics of that database. Today, agent location can actually verify BVN using special app and, onboard all these poor people that you are targeting. You can't get a database of poor people through politicians or through ministry.
Who says we can even trust these agents you're talking about? Anybody can be bribed, anybody can be bought over.
Okay, I
anybody
agree with
can
you.
divert to their family and friends.
I agree with you, but the reality is that technology has made it so difficult for you to manipulate data gathering. Because, number one, today there are artificial intelligence inbuilt in fintech solutions that you cannot capture people twice. Unlike what we used to have in the past. I participated in deploying agents for the former government disbursement of a conditional cash transfer in part of the country. And I discovered that the names there, you will just discover that these things are fake when you are seeing Alpha, Munirat. You will understand that these names are not just real. But today, you can actually verify, and you can't have two BVNs. And in a situation where you have poor people without BVN, that agent will enroll that poor person immediately. Because the agent, an individual agent, now has all what it takes to register. If you don't have NIN, an agent location can actually enroll you on NIN so that you can actually benefit from this. So it's as simple as decentralizing this, involve private partners, agent locations, and let us do the magic for Nigeria. Because fintech has done magic in Nigeria.
but in reality, how much conversation goes on between the private sector when it comes to fintech and arms like NIMC? We have our passport, we have our driver's license. We've been complaining a lot about how data is captured here and is captured here and is captured here. How much conversation on how to coordinate the system goes on?
I think there are a lot of conversations going on. We only need the willpower to be able to, because when you are harmonizing, also remember you are taking some people also out of survivor, out of the system. So, and those are the segments that we want to actually frustrate that process. But an intelligent government will see how you can actually factor all players into that harmonization you are trying to do. So we are working together, and I'm happy that going by what we are seeing from digital economy, what we are seeing from NITDA, what we are seeing from even NIMC, and I think they are working towards resolving this, multi-identity process. Currently, we have a job to deploy and enumerate about 30 million traders in Nigeria under the FRS direct VAT initiative in the road. So we are telling them that you don't need to be taking fingerprints again. So let people come up, use their BVN, use their NIN, let it verify, send their data, and they are captured. So it's as simple as that. So we need to start to actually discourage multiple duplication of identity registration. We need to harmonize it. I remember that because where we are going is actually far. It's not about generating the name that matters. It's also about sharing the database with all the critical sectors of the economy. If I walk into my hotel in Kigali today, I don't need anything to supply my national identity if I'm a citizen. And that's fine, they will lodge me in. If I have a guest that is coming in, my guest will not come in until he or she submits the NIN. So until we get to that level, when we see road safety running after offenders, you don't need to run after them because your plate number should have been synchronized with your identity number so that what you just need is to take a picture of the plate number, then do you know that person to his residence. And there is a huge opportunity in technology today. Do you know that even address verification, as you are changing your residence, address verification, if has been captured in the NIN, it keeps also updating and changing. If you relocate from Kaduna to Kavancha, from Kaduna to Habia, it actually changed from the database. So we have a long way to go. We just need to, move. And I can see that we are celebrating when we hit 100 million enrollment. And we are still going to 100 million. So we shouldn't just...
Let's not relax yet.
No, we don't have to.
But, I can just imagine issues of mortgage, of loan, of credits, ratings of individuals. So many businesses that can be started if we actually have appropriate updated data of individual. I think it will go a long way to change the face of doing business. Housing is a major one also, because you complain of mortgage and people, banks can hardly trust people enough. Some people have been blacklisted in one set of banking, maybe in the microfinance, and they go to another arm, and it all brings issues to the economy.
Actually, like you said, that's one of the focus of this government, hearing the agenda from day one, that they want to run more of a credit economy, that you don't have to carry all the cash you have in this world to go and buy an article that you can actually spread over the time. And I hope they pursue that aggressively. If they pursue that, corruption will be a thing of the past. Because if I get a job today and I have access to mortgage, why should I go and run after, embezzlement? I will just, apply based on my appointment, and I will spread it over the years. So it makes life easy and make financial inclusion easy for everyone. So national identity number and digital is going to is the driver of the digital economy. And we have to leverage on this so-called agent network, on this so-called, financial inclusion, the fintech solutions. So we are encouraging all agents. Let them just put in for this and visit my ABC, .ng, register, read more about it,
it's true what the IMF said, that with financial inclusion, you have huge economic opportunities and employment opportunities. Well, thank you so much for your time this morning. A member of CIBN Subcommittee on Agents Banking Certification Program. I must say, CIBN is really pushing for this program. We wish you success. Does it have a closing date, though?
Yes, by November 14th, the first set of application we end. So by November 14th.
And then I think based on the reaction or response, then you know what to do next.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Shafaruddin, for your time this morning.
Thank you, madam, for having me. Thank you, Nigerians.
Let's take a break. When we come back, the program continues here on Business Morning on Channels Television.